Hey everybody, I'm Isaac and today I'm going to teach you the most powerful tool in photo editing. Cheers. It's not what it looks like, it's iced tea. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Today in my first ever YouTube tutorial, I'll be teaching the HSL sliders found in both Lightroom and VSCO. So regardless of whether you're editing your photos on Lightroom or on the mobile phone, you're going to want to listen to this.
Oh, and by the way, if you actually want to follow along this tutorial, you can actually download the raw files in the description below.
First up, let's start by introducing what the HSL is all about. Alright, so this module over here in Lightroom is going to look daunting at first with many different types of sliders, but don't worry, they're all just the same sliders, just presented in different formats. Let's just stick to the simple HSL and all selection. Right here, you can see the hue, saturation, and luminance. What the hue does is it kind of changes the color of a color. So if I adjust it, I'm actually changing the color of red. When I slide it to the left, my reds actually become slightly more pink. If I slide it to the right, my reds actually become orange. Next in the lineup, we have saturation. For lack of a better word, saturation is how saturated a color will look. Take for an instance red again. If we slide it to the left, it becomes desaturated. If we slide it to the right, it becomes very saturated, very red. And last but not least, we have the luminance. Luminance is actually just how bright that color will appear in your photo. You can slide it to the left for it to become darker, and you can slide it to the right for it to become brighter. Now this tool is extremely powerful because you can manipulate the colors in your photos isolatedly, independently more like it, of the rest of the photo. Like for an instance, I'm only adjusting the red slider, hence only the color red is being adjusted in the photo. And I manipulated the color red to look like the color orange in my given photo. Now you might be wondering, what's the real life application of these HSL sliders? I'm going to show you how powerful and how much this slider can actually change how your image looks. If you are using Lightroom, continue watching from this time on. But if you are editing your photos on VSCO on the mobile, you can jump ahead to this timestamp right here. And let's dive in. Right off the bat, I really like how this photo looks, okay? I'm just gonna tweak it a little bit. I kind of want to make the greens a little bit greener. So I'm gonna slide the hue of the green towards the right. About there. But it's looking a little bit too, I don't know, sickly, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna bring down the saturation of green a tad bit so that it doesn't look too mossy and disgusting. Alright, that's about it. Somewhere there. I'm thinking of giving it a little bit of a golden hour vibe. So I'm gonna turn the yellow towards the orange. There we go. That looks pretty good. And bring down the saturation a tad bit, but boost the brightness of the yellow. Great. And now you take a look. I'm just toggling the before and after, and it's a world of difference. Alright, mixed up. Another photo taken in Iceland, and if you happen to stumble upon a photo and you do not know what particular color needs to be adjusted, you can always use this target selection tool. Click it onto any part of the image that you want to edit, and then you just drag up and drag down. You notice on the right side that Lightroom reads this section of the photo as blue or slightly purple. And then I'm going to want to bring in more saturation, and last but not least, I'm going to want to make the eyes a little bit brighter. His jacket is a little bit too dull. I'm going to bring up the saturation, and I'm going to increase the luminance to make it pop a little bit more. Now let's take a look at the before and after. Bam! It's a world of a difference. So these HSL sliders are extremely powerful because it allows you to target certain colors and adjust them accordingly. As you can see, it doesn't take really long to nail in the colors that you want. All it takes is a little bit of practice. And if you're here as a VSCO user on the mobile, let's go grab my mobile phone and show you guys how it's done, yeah? Okay, I got my mobile phone right here, and let's jump straight into VSCO. Okay, you know, a lot of people use VSCO for a quick edit on their photos before you post it on Instagram. Edit on VSCO. It's quick and fast because there's many others that you guys actually can use. But we're gonna keep this as simple as possible by using the HSL sliders. So the HSL is found on the far right. You click it, and then you are treated with this many different sliders. It looks daunting as well, but it's not, trust me. There's the hue, saturation, luminance, just like Lightroom. So now we're gonna adjust the blues. I kind of want to make it more saturated, and I want to bring it a little bit more aqua, and I want to bring up the lightness of it, how bright it is, yeah? Now I want to make it a little bit more goldenish hour, so I'm going to shift the yellow down towards the orange. I'm going to bump up the saturation just a little bit, and I'm going to boost the brightness. The same thing with the orange. I'll push the orange slightly away from yellow, bump up the saturation, and boost the luminance as well, so it makes it a lot brighter. As I was doing this, I noticed a lot of greens that were changing in the photo. I'm gonna bring down the saturation of the green, and I'm gonna bring the hues of green towards yellow. It's looking pretty good already, you know? Alright, let's jump to the next image. As you know, this is all done using only the HSL sliders. So you can tell that these sliders are extremely powerful. Okay, now it's another picture taken in Thailand on a drone. And right off the bat, I'm gonna wanna change how the green looks. It looks a little bit dull, a little bit, you know, lifeless. So I'm gonna push the green towards the aqua side to give it a little bit more punch. And I'm gonna bring up the saturation as well. And I'm gonna bring down the brightness of it, so that it doesn't look too overwhelming. Yeah. Now, if you actually do not know what colors are being adjusted, what I'd recommend is that you hit the saturation slider, right? You keep a really close eye on the photo, and what you do is you actually bump up the saturation, like keep a close eye on the image over here. Okay, I'm gonna bump it up now. Yeah, so as you can tell, it looks disgustingly yellow. It highlights one thing. It shows us where it's being adjusted. So we gotta eyeball it. Right off the bat, I wanna bring down the saturation of the yellow and turn the hue of it a little bit more towards the orange side. And I'm gonna make it darker. Alright, now for the oranges. I want to bring it up and bring the saturation up and bring the saturation down and see what exactly changes. So let's do it right now. Notice a little bit of the rocks and a bit of the houses is changing. So I'm going to want to bring a little bit more contrast in amongst the rocks. So I'm going to boost the saturation, bring down the hue a little bit towards the red, and bump up the lightness. I noticed that the red sliders doesn't really change much, so we're just gonna completely ignore that. And now, last but not least, the blue. Slide it towards the aqua and give it a little bit more of a light blue kind of feeling. I'm gonna bump up the saturation quite a bit, make the sky a little bit darker. And there we go. And if you enjoyed what you saw, give me a thumbs up.
or 2 thumbs down, doesn't really matter, but give me a subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.